And hello everybody, Merry Christmas. Even if it's not Christmas right now, it might be by the time this video comes out, I don't know. But hey, my name is NikoTheLegend, the snowflake, the well-mannered teenager, here to give you something a little interesting to talk about today. So today we're going to be talking about why Bioware decided to create Mass Effect instead of Star Wars Knights of the Republic 2. Now, of course, when you're clicking the title, it's going to be something shorter, but this is just kind of a more of a broad topic we're going to be talking about. Just a little extended topic, you know. You buy the extended version, you get Blu-ray, you know, and it's got great footage. It's like you're seeing all the Hobbits again in full Blu-ray with the extra 30 minutes. 3 to 4 hours long. Great. It's always great stuff. This is what I try to bring. But before I get into that, guys, thank you so much for everything you've done. I really love hearing your Dragon Age and Mass Effect comments and just everything. I hope you're enjoying the Let's Plays and all that. I'm going to keep doing it. I'm going to keep doing it strong. So everything is appreciated. Little quick tidbit. I just saw The Last Jedi Star Wars movie last night. I won't tell you anything about it, but go see it if you're a Star Wars fan, a big Star Wars fan. And this is kind of, you know, Star Wars is kind of related to what we're going to be talking about right here. Big time. But go see the movie and let me know what you guys think about it. I was almost thinking of doing a review video on it, but I'm not entirely sure. I don't know if I want to exactly. It was either this video or doing a review of the movie. Not really like an in-depth review, you know, like where it's like perfectly scripted, but it's mainly like my own opinion of what I thought of it, or, you know, whatever, which is kind of the same thing, but just I would have had it in a different format. But anyway, so as we all know, there's really no interesting news on Mass Effect or Dragon Age, and I've mentioned that before in previous videos, and because we're really not getting anything. And just like these writers that are always posting these articles up, they're trying to come up with things to talk about the franchises they love. It's just something that we do as people, because obviously we the people are the ones that keep the franchise alive, not the companies. Companies can make games all the time any way they want. They can market it all, but if it doesn't look good or whatever, it's not something we like, why would we buy another one, you know? Why would we keep wasting our time or something? It's like we make the games great because we give them money, and our money is going to be well invested. Now you can argue it can go both ways, you know, 50-50, but if you're going to go with that argument, I'm going to pretty much guarantee that it's mainly the fans or the players that decide if the game's good or not the creators or developers, you know, because as a developer I'd be freaking out half the time. But besides the point, talking about, you know, Bioware's ascension, right? This is a company that has been making great RPGs this whole time, for the longest time. And despite all the very, very disappointing news we've been hearing about Andromeda, and some, you know, get some little things about Dragon Age, you know, that kind of just brings that those questions, those fan theories, and all those into the air. So at least Dragon Age is still trying to become, hopefully, not an Andromeda failure. Hope to God no. But I'm pretty sure Dragon Age is going to be pretty fun. I love all the Dragon Age games, and yes, even Dragon Age 2. But that will be a topic for another time. It might just trigger a bunch of you right then and there, but you know, either you hate it or you love it. A lot of people definitely hate it. So why is this so important, talking about such an article like this? Well, not because I feel that it's something that should be stated and should be talked about. No, we're not going with that feeling crap. It's that we know that Bioware is one of the few gaming companies that have made a original franchise and grown so much from it and done so much, and just all the things, all the funds, all the memories, just everything created for this franchise was just something to behold. And why do they go with that route? Why do they make their own IP? You know, why not make another Knights of the Republic 2? Because their first Knights of the Republic was amazing, fantastic. Baldur's Gate, same thing, amazing, fantastic. Neverwinter Nights, same thing. They were all great games. They had an amazing track record. Even Jade Empire, underrated role-playing game, probably one of the most underrated role-playing games of all time. Because let's just face it, you really don't hear anybody talking about that game. And I'll admit it, I've played it here and there. I've never beaten it. I do have it on PC. I really wanted to play it on the original Xbox back in the day when it came out because it's Bioware. I trusted them. So why make Mass Effect? Well, I guess as especially in this occasion, they didn't start out being an original developer. They started out as being a company that was continuing on stories of a universe that's already been made. So basically what they were most noticed. They could have made little like simple games before they went on to bigger projects, where they really were noticed, but mainly their main success was not an original IP, not their own. It wasn't their own baby. They had the resources, they had the lore, the assets, they had it all basically spelled out for them. The only thing they were doing is, creating their own take and their own gameplay and their own story, but it's all stemmed from somewhere. It's not from the ground up. Not original. Now, despite all those games being so great, as I mentioned before, with the Baldur's Gate, with the KOTOR, with the Neverwinter Nights, those games were something that we'll always cherish for, as long as we can remember as gamers. And that's something we can respect, And I feel like it's way harder to continue on the lore to a beloved franchise of D&D and Star Wars, and sorry, I almost went into a blank state there. And then, they're such big franchises. They're huge. There's so much that went into making those films or adventures or books, whatever form of leisure you want to think of. And it's hard, continuing it, because you got to be careful on not, completely tarnishing someone else's canon story and overlapping or overshadowing, or you have to know your boundaries and you have to be very careful, and you got to pick a good place in the timeline that you're going to add to it. And I guess that's why the Knights of the Republic 1 was so great, because it was like nobody else did any books on the Old Republic, basically, 4,000 years before the story, before the movies, So it was a safe route. It was bold at the same time, like I said, because, continuing on with the canon and everything. And I'm talking about the canon before, like Disney, like the expanding universe. So, and look where that turned out for them. Look where that turned out. It was fantastic. Biggest plot twist to any game. I still am waiting for a game to beat a plot twist that Knights of the Republic had. Despite how when you think of it retrospectively, how obvious it was about the main reveal. I won't spoil it for anybody who hasn't played the game or beaten it, but you need to play Knights of the Republic if you want to know the true heart and soul of Bioware, where it all, where the building blocks came into play, And it was the same thing with Baldur's Gate, It was just something that was just so inspirational, just so different, so hard and complicated and intelligent. Like, you felt the love and passion into these games because it gave us something that we were just always, shock and awe. With me, the reason, this is completely not the same company or anything, but Breath of the Wild is the same thing. You want to create something that always keeps the player surprised, always bringing something interesting, something that isn't predictable. You always just want to be surprised, always. And there's always going to be different ways of doing it. If you allow that freedom for different consequences and different decisions, then people are going to love your game so much. And that was something, and that was Breath of the Wild. That was 2017. And now the game was perfected. To me, I think it was perfected. But having that back in the day, when you're having choices and worlds and characters that you're shaping by just moving your fingers, hearing all these different viewpoints from your party members or how the world works, it really tests you. And can you imagine that if you're like a kid playing those games when it was a fairly new concept? Unbelievable. It's literally like you were playing a tabletop game for D&D or Star Wars, and I played both many times. It's amazing. And Bioware was that company that did that really, really gave you, like, itched your RPG back, just got that itch, like it gave you the perfect amount of just supplement, it gave you the perfect amount. It really inspired many developers doing the same thing, having choices and dialogue wheels and all that stuff. It was a breakthrough. It was phenomenal. And that was even their original IP. Just let that sink in, let that sink in. Now, Mass Effect. What can a company do from that, right? How can they make a company even better, even more bold, even stronger than before? Well, you gotta have the gall to do it. You gotta find your own identity. Making these games was the key to help Bioware find their true passion and love for something. And that's why we got Mass Effect and Dragon Age. Completely original games, brand new IPs. But Mass Effect is something that is the main staple for Bioware, because that was the most phenomenal space opera we've ever seen. And that's saying a lot, because Star Wars was supposed to be that space opera. But Mass Effect, that was something to behold, definitely. And Bioware could have made they could have easily made another Knights of the Republic game. You just read this article, read the extended article. They'll tell you all about it. They could have done it, but why? Why would we want to do this when we can just we have the skills, we have the professionals, we have the power, the knowledge of making our own IP. Let's go boldly where no one has gone before, which they have in terms of game development. You know what I mean? But Mass Effect was their baby. It was all the lessons and experiences and failures and success turned into a ball and just thrown into this outer space. Let's just say that, And then when Mass Effect was just released, when no one even knew a goddamn thing about it, it was we just knew it was this space game where it's like you're able to have this crazy different aliens, amazing graphics, and dialogue wheel. Like, what's this dialogue wheel? I've never, when I was playing it, I never saw something like that. It was brand new to me. But I knew how amazing it was gonna be, and I was right. I was fucking right. I'm glad I was right. I'm very glad. Mass Effect was one of the best games I've ever played in my life. No joke. And that was something that I'm sure Bioware was touched by. For the past 10 years, they've been making Mass Effect games. For the past, let's see, Dragon Age Origins came out in 2009, so they're 10 years coming up too. They've been working on these two original IPs non-stop, It's like Bethesda with Skyrim and Fallout. Although they haven't made a new Elder Scrolls game. I don't count Elder Scrolls Online. I'm talking about you know what I'm talking about. this was just something special. And then when we look back to that, to what really made us fall in love with this franchise, and we see what had happened to it now, it's a goddamn shame, that a company has lost so much and failed so hard, and that it's almost like a reality check, a slap in the face. And you can read it all over the place of why EA decided to buy them out. They thought it was a good idea. It was the money and the resources, and they able to produce a bigger budget game, although they really, really didn't need it. To be honest, they really didn't need it. But how can you say no to something like that? That's the next step, is to be sponsored by somebody. This huge company. And also the worst company, because every company that is bought out by EA always goes out of business. It's very, very saddening, disheartening. And and that's not the only two IPs we got. We got the Old Republic. We got an MMO Star Wars RPG, which I love, by the way. I haven't played it in a while, but I used to play it since day one, like crazy amount of times, because it reminded me of the old Knights of the Republic games. This is some MMO elements, but the dialogue and everything, it was so good, and the stories were great in that game. That it's still going on, so it's doing something right. People love that game. I love that game. So it's just funny that we even have everything we wanted. We still got a Knights of the Republic 3 game. We can argue that it's not a true KOTOR sequel, because it's not even called KOTOR. But it's the closest thing that we're gonna freaking get besides that Aperion mod for Knights of the Republic. So guys, what do you think? What do you think on this? What do you know? What do you know that I don't know? Read the article and let me know what you think about it. Was this a smart decision to do in the end? Was this the best way they could have went, with the whole EA thing, how it turned out? Was this just like I said, a slap in the face, a reality check?